This is the Audi RS3, a compact sedan that punches way above its weight class. It's got the soul of a supercar, the practicality of a daily driver, and one of the last great 5-cylinder engines still in production today. But with all of that, is it enough to justify purchasing this car for $70,000?
Wait a minute!
Well, my name is John with Blackbird Productions, and today I'll be reviewing this $70,000 German pocket rocket, and together we'll determine if it's worth the money. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and more importantly, enjoy the video.
So if you're considering the RS3, chances are you're also looking at the BMW M2 or maybe even the AMG C43 sedan if you want something a little bit more stately. But honestly, I think the Audi RS3 lives in its own category, mainly because it's just under the radar. Very, very under the radar, in fact, in terms of its power. This particular RS3 comes with Audi's legendary inline 5-cylinder, putting out 400 horses and 369 pound-feet of torque. Good for a 0 to 60 time of just 3.6 seconds. Handling in the RS3 is pretty restrained when it wants to be, but there's definitely a dual personality with this car. On these back roads, the steering feels light and manageable, yet it isn't quite as communicative as something like a BMW M2 or even a Porsche Cayman. You don't always feel the texture of the road through the steering wheel, which can make it feel a little digital at times. Which also isn't the worst thing in the world. I'd imagine it's something you just have to get used to when driving around in a car like this. This digital feeling also presents in the brake feel of the Audi RS3, and maybe it's just something I'm not accustomed to, but these brakes feel extremely sensitive. The pedal feel even comes across as a bit too electronic, missing that natural resistance and progression you'd expect in a performance car like this, which, I'll be honest, is kind of scary in a car that makes 400 horses. But to be honest, this is one of those brake feels where you just kind of mush the pedal down into the floor about 40% and it does like literally nothing. I have no idea if it's just me, just being like a first-time Audi driver in this specific car, or it's just something that's widely known in the Audi community, but it definitely threw me for a loop when I first hit the brakes on this car. Now again, maybe that's just me not being fully used to the Audi driving experience yet, but again, as a first-time RS3 driver, it's definitely something I picked up on right away. The RS3's exterior is very stealthy, and to be honest, the more time you spend around this car, the more you'll find hidden performance details like these recessed dual radiators in the front bumper, or this tiny little RS badge on the wheels. And speaking of stealthy, this car is finished in a very particular color. It is called Python Yellow Metallic, which is definitely a bold choice, though not exactly my first pick. Personally, it looks best in Mythos Black Metallic, but hey, you're watching Blackbird Productions after all, so you can say I'm a bit biased on color. Anyway, these 19-inch wheels are wrapped in some of the most grippy Bridgestone tires that I have ever seen, and they're called Parenzas. This RS3 is also equipped with those iconic Audi RS red brake calibers as well. But honestly, in terms of the looks department with this specific car, like I said, very stealthy, very under the radar. You can definitely trick someone like your partner into buying this car for the family, in my book, just because it just looks like a regular Audi economy car to me, with very, very supple performance touches, and I think that's part of the appeal of buying a car like this. Now it's time for the intermission, and if you're liking the video so far, let me know by hitting the like button, and while you're down there, consider subscribing. I create new car reviews like this one every month. Thank you in advance and enjoy the intermission. His jacket calls me. I'm so the interior of the new RS3 is blanketed in fine Napa leather, and the honeycomb stitching really takes it up a notch here, giving the cabin a distinctly premium and performance-oriented feel. The center console is slightly angled toward the driver with a clean set of minimal controls and Audi's latest infotainment system. And while some rivals might lean too heavily on touch-based interfaces, Audi still provides a good balance here, with a mix of physical controls for climate and other things where they make sense. So ultimately, it feels futuristic in here without being overly complicated. Moving to the back seat, let's just say the rear passenger room in this car is pretty compromised, as you'd expect for a small performance sedan like this. The RS3 is still based on the compact A3 platform, so legroom in this is pretty tight. And taller passengers might find headroom limited due to the sloping roofline. It's usable for short trips or kids, but honestly, I would not put a human being above 5'10" behind the front seats of this car. The trunk space is, however, pretty decent, as you'd expect from a performance sedan like this, being 4 doors, and the fact that the back seats actually come down, so it gives you more room for extra cargo. It's, you could say, these little touches of practicality that make the RS3 easier to justify as a daily. Alright, let's talk about some cons. So, rear seating in the RS3 is definitely compromised, especially for taller passengers. Like I said, legroom is limited in this car, and even when you open the door, it's like almost just hopping into a hatch. Like, not a hatchback car, but you know, like a small opening, like it's just a small opening. And it's something that you notice right away in this car. So headroom is also tight due to the sloping roofline, which adds to the RS3's sporty profile, but cuts into rear comfort. The materials back here are still premium, don't get me wrong, and it has the same leather stitching as well as the honeycomb pattern that you see up front with the leather stitching. So it doesn't feel like an afterthought from Audi, but realistically, the rear seats are best for kids, shorter adults, or occasional use rather than long trips with full-size passengers. The second con that I have about the Audi RS3 is it can feel very electronic in its overall driving dynamics. From the steering to the braking, there's a sense of precision there, don't get me wrong, but not always the kind of raw feedback enthusiasts crave from a car like this. The controls respond quickly, yet they lack the natural weight and resistance you'd find in a more analog performance car. This makes the RS3 easy to drive fast, but it comes off as almost detached from the road, which I feel like is the complete opposite of what enthusiasts really want out of a car like this. However, for some, that refinement is a strength of this car. But I feel like I've talked a lot about electronic feel in this car, so let's move on to something else. How about rapid fire round? This segment includes my favorite feature, something I'd change, and advice for an aspiring owner. So my favorite feature undoubtedly is the leather quality. It genuinely surprised me. The RS3's interior feels far more premium and comfortable than I expected for a car like this. The honeycomb pattern on the seats is a really nice touch as well. It actually reminds me of those old school muscle cars back in the day, you know, which you could say gives this car a blend of heritage and modern design. Something I'd change is, I hate to go back to it, but the overly electronic nature of this car. Just give it a manual. That's all I ask for. If Audi gave this car a proper stick shift, every one of my complaints about this car being overly electronic would be null and void. I still don't get why Audi discontinued the manual, especially when they've got such a strong enthusiast community. At the very least, it feels like a no-brainer to offer a manual as an option in a car like this. But here we are at the mercy of Audi's questionable decisions. Alright, future owners, this section is for you. The new S3 just dropped, and being a slightly larger car, and also the fact that it comes in a lot cheaper, and overall it seems like a better value than the RS3 in my opinion, I really think you should consider purchasing this car over the new RS3. Yes, the turbo 6-cylinder doesn't deliver the same punch you might expect from a car like the RS3, However, it's still quick and capable enough for daily driving with a 0 to 60 time of 4.3 seconds and 362 horses. On top of that, I feel like the RS3 really offers a more mature looking package overall, with sleeker styling and a more refined overall presence compared to the RS3. Not to mention, interior space is another advantage, giving your passengers noticeably more legroom compared to the RS3. So that's my advice. I would seriously consider the S3 over the RS3, since it's a much more compelling purchase when comparing these two cars on paper. Another thing I was thinking about was the fact that Audi actually discontinued the TTRS, and I feel like this car took a lot of inspiration from that car, and I always felt like the TTRS was just such a cool car. It's essentially the coupe version of the RS3, but anyway, I would also consider that over the RS3 as well. Just because I feel like the package just looks a little bit better. So yeah, I would consider that one as well over the RS3. Now let's give this car a rating. My rating system is based on key considerations that most buyers consider when making a purchase. These include quality of materials, fit and finish, overall reliability, styling, handling, and also power. So let's start with quality. Quality in the RS3 is honestly pretty good, and I feel like I don't have to say much here, honestly, so 5 out of 5. Reliability in the RS3 is solid as well, but like any European car, staying on top of maintenance is a requirement. Fall behind and ownership can quickly become very expensive. So 4 out of 5. Styling is very subdued in the RS3, too subdued, and maybe that's part of the aesthetic, but in my opinion, it needs just a little more to stand out from the A3 counterpart. So for this reason, I'll give styling a 3 out of 5. Handling is an interesting affair in this car. Like I've been saying throughout this review, it feels very electronic, and maybe it's just my bias of not having driven an Audi before, but I can imagine if you're like me, it will probably take some time for you to get used to this car. So for that reason, I'll give handling a 3 out of 5. Power is very competitive for a car in this segment, given that the AMG C43 and the BMW M2 either come very close or at the least close enough to matching the RS3 in terms of its power. So I'll give power 4 out of 5 here. Average those ratings up, and my overall rating for the Audi RS3 stands at a 3.8 out of 5. So by this point in the video, you're probably asking yourself about that title. What is this secret he's talking about? So I'll just tell you, and I've been saying it throughout this review, but ultimately this Audi RS3 is just way too electronic. More electronic feeling than I initially thought going into this car, because I thought this was going to be like a raw driving experience. I was going to have like a fun time, which I did, don't get me wrong, but it's just more electronically feeling than I thought. And I really hope Audi takes some notes here and does a little bit better with this experience in the future. But just given what they just revealed to the press with their new concept and everything yesterday, as of filming this video, I'm not sure if they're going to be going in the direction that enthusiasts really want them to go. So I guess we'll just have to wait a little bit longer for Audi to wake up here. But aside from that, I hope you enjoyed this video. It took me a longer than usual time to put together this car review. Like I said in the beginning, I create car reviews every month, but there's just a slew of things that have been happening over the past couple of months. I just recently recovered from COVID, and technically I'm still in quarantine, so I'm just trying to stay safe and trying to keep the people that I love around me safe from this rapid disease that's just been going around like crazy. And I don't know what it is with this particular strain of COVID, but it really hit different, and I do not want anyone around me catching this strain of COVID. So that's basically where I've been at. I also had some things come up, just busy stuff around just my neck of the woods that just took priority over creating a car review for last month, just because this car review was supposed to come out in July, so it's been delayed for so long. And if you watch my car reviews and you enjoy them, thank you so much for sticking in for me. I really wouldn't do this if it weren't for, like, you know, the regular 10 to 20 people that like this kind of content on my channel. So if you are new to the channel, I wanted to officially welcome you just because I know we got a whole lot of new subscribers. And as of making this video, in fact, I just reached 3,000 subscribers. So that's insane. I've never seen that number at all on this channel before, and I've owned this channel for multiple years, maybe like 6, 7, 8 years or so. I mean, if you go into my about page, it'll show exactly when I started this channel, but it's completely insane. Got my first couple viral videos over the past couple of days, so most of the subscribers came from those videos. So if you are new to the channel, I wanted to thank you for subscribing and liking my content. And I really hope that you stick around because I have some really big plans and some really fun video ideas coming up in the future. So yeah, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And I definitely would appreciate it if you are just browsing and you're just sort of a passerby of the channel. Definitely consider subscribing. Like I said, I make car reviews like this every month. I haven't seen any other very overly done cinematic car reviews like this on YouTube, so it is a very unique format. And if you appreciate this format, let me know in the comments. And I'm also looking for feedback as well, so if there's anything that you'd want to see or like me to talk about on these car reviews, definitely let me know in the comments. So anyway, while you're down there, again, just feel free to give me a like on this video and also consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I also wanted to thank the owner of this RS3. He's also helping me with my next review, which you will find out what that is very soon, much sooner than later, I hope. But I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. This has been John with Blackbird Productions, and I'll see you in the next review.
The earth went ahead and shook itself apart the very moment I laid eyes on